Okay, so I just had to write creative nonfiction for my creative writing class. We worked on poetry for a while and then fiction, and now we have to do creative nonfiction, which is basically writing about what actually happened, but creatively. Pretty self-explanatory. And I couldn't think about what I wanted to write for a while. And the first thing I really thought of, and that my mom actually told me to write about, was about Dewey. If you've seen any of my videos before, if you look through my videos, you'll see that I talk about and show Dewey a lot. He's my orange cat. But basically, I wrote my paper. It's 2 pages long, and I felt like reading it for you guys. If I get emotional, I have tissues. I just finished writing it, and I wanted to share the story with you guys, since sometimes when I post the story, actually, like the words, no one really reads it. So I'm just gonna do this. In my life there has been mostly change, but that's to be said about everyone's lives. I mean, no one is the same person they were 5, 10, 15 years ago. Environments change, relationships change, mindsets change. That's all part of growing. And yet there is one component of my life that has remained a constant for the majority of my lifetime thus far. I call him Dewey. It feels weird to refer to him as Orson, but seeing as how that is technically the name he was given when Mom brought him home from the animal shelter, I'll use that name for the beginning of our story. I was 6 years old, barely ready to start the first grade, when the most beautiful orange ball of fluff entered my life. I don't remember if he was a surprise or if Mom had me pick him out from the shelter, but I do remember the one rule that I had to abide by in order to keep him. The landlord can't know. We lived in an apartment in the lame city of Glendale, which is my least favorite part of Los Angeles so far, and the woman who rented it to us didn't want any pets in the complex. Needless to say, this made me feel like a rebel with a secret, knowing that Mommy and I were breaking rules just so we could have a kitten. Whenever the landlady would come over to talk to Mom about something or other, I would be sent to my room with Orson just before the meeting, and I would silently play with him for however long it lasted. Orson was the most playful little ruffian of a cat, which led my young, vibrant mind to convince itself that he was a descendant of tigers. When Mom and I would run down our hallway, he would run after us, biting and pawing at our heels, which I could say was really cute if it didn't hurt like hell sometimes. But he was our kitten, and we loved him. We kept our successful secret from the landlady for the entire 6 months we lived in that apartment. We moved into a house on another side of Glendale when I switched schools, and it was the best house ever, if not solely for the fact that it accepted pets. We got another kitten after moving into the house on Atkins Drive, and we named her Vita. Her name was actually important because when we adopted her, she had breathing problems and was dying. But my mom, being the loving, caring spirit that she is, she paid the price of Vita's medication to make her better. Vita is Spanish for life, and thus her name is just as beautiful as she still is to this day. This story is still about Orson. I only brought up the other cat because she passed on to him a trait that he still carries to this day, even though she dropped it after growing out of being a kitten. Vita would often curl up and suck on the end of her tail before she'd fall asleep. You see, it was cute when she was just a puff of black and white fur. Dewey is somewhere around 14 years old now, and he still does it when he gets comfortable enough. By now you may be wondering how I got Dewey from Orson. To make a short story of it, there was a Disney film I'd seen as a kid called Thomasina that featured an orange cat that actually had 3 lives, and her owner's name was Andrew McDewey, and that's spelled Mick, M-C-D-H-U-I. After watching the movie, Mom and I just took to calling our orange cat Orson McDewey, and eventually it wore down to simply Dewey. Since then, it had become his title. I'm pretty sure many of my close friends who have known me for 10 plus years don't even know his name on official documents, and his medication is Orson. He's always been Dewey. First grade flew by just as fast as sixth and 10th, and through them all I was bullied and didn't make many friends. Kids were mean, and boys didn't really start noticing me until junior year of high school, but every single day I came home to the least judgmental individual to ever chase my ankles down a hallway. With time, Mom and I both silently established the fact that Dewey was my cat. He only responded to my calls and would only be social if I was inviting him to curl up somewhere on or around me. Sometimes I wondered if he only gave me so much love because I would hold his tail for him while he sucked on the end of it. There was so much more to me. He was so much more to me than a cat in the days of me attending public school and being home. He would lay on the bed or couch while I would vent about the kids at school who would call me names, and when I would fall onto the flowered sheets and openly cry, he would get up, stretch, and walk over to me and rub up against me. Realistically, he probably just wanted to be given attention, but I remained convinced he was reassuring me that everything would be all right. These days, I'm 300 miles north of home, and there are some nights I really just want to snap my fingers and be on the couch with my Dewey. Every time I call my mom crying about being homesick, she assures me that Dewey and Vita and the dogs are all waiting for me when classes wrap up and the holidays bring me home. Over this past Thanksgiving break, she had to break it to me that she had to bring Dewey to the vet because he developed a terrible habit of just peeing anywhere in the house. She told me that the vet diagnosed him with diabetes and that the only course of action to take to keep him from getting any worse would be to inject him with insulin twice a day for the rest of his life. The vet explained to me herself that some cats go into remission after a year or two of treatment, but she didn't sound wholly confident in Dewey's remission because he is so old. My mom and I had to make a difficult decision on whether she'd invest in his medication or if we let him go without it. He would have to take human insulin, which is $200 for a month's supply, including syringes. I don't think my mom makes enough money to spend $2,400 a year for Dewey's life, but she's putting her faith in his remission and has started giving him his insulin injections. He is not miserable or in pain. Dewey is the same cat he was 10 years ago, only his legs don't work well enough to chase as many lizards as he used to. This is why Mom and I found it so difficult to choose any alternative than to treat his diabetes. Life definitely gets more difficult the older you get. You learn how to handle your heart when it gets broken, how to meet deadlines for work and classes, how to operate and manage vehicles. And none of these things are easy. I had the fortune of having a companion in my learning for the last 14 years, and there is nothing I am more thankful for. There is no purer form of unconditional love than that of a pet. It will love you back for all of its life and yours. Dewey has seen me grow taller with all sorts of hairstyles and every wave of emotion that a person can feel. He's never changed, and to this day still sleeps on my bed when I'm gone. I don't know how much time I have left with him, but I am grateful for his presence up to this point, and every added day is a blessing. I will forever love my Dewey. When the vet told me how lucky he should feel for being so spry at his age, I could only think, no, I am the lucky one. So yeah, that's my paper. Sorry this was so long. You're probably not even watching this, but yeah, that's my Dewey story. That's my cat. I miss him a lot, and I hope he can last a while, you know? It'd be pretty great if I had him for a while longer. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up and go to bed. I have to be up for class in like 8 hours, so thanks for listening if you're listening. I appreciate it. And if you have a pet, isn't it great? Love them for as long as you have them, and do the same for even just your friends and family. Just love everything forever. Because you never know when it's gone, and I'll never know when Dewey's gone until he is. And until then, I'm just going to appreciate that I have him and that my mom is doing everything she can to, keep his presence in my life. Because it's like the one thing keeping me sane with finals and everything is just knowing I'm going to go home to my pets and my family. So, 9 minutes long. Wow. Okay, guys.